Hey you guys, welcome back to Chapters Create Character. My name is Ledger Moore, and today we are going to be reading about two new Black heroes. Ida B. Wells-Barnett, Maggie Lena Walker. I hope you enjoy these stories. Bye! Ida B. Wells-Barnett. Ida B. Wells-Barnett was an investigative journalist and activist. Her newspaper stories about lynchings in the South made her civil rights pioneer. Ida B. Wells-Barnett was born in Holly Springs, Mississippi, in 1862. She was born into slavery but was freed when President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, ending slavery in the United States. Ida's parents taught her the importance of education. She attended Rusk College, which still exists today. That's cool. Ida's education was cut short when one of her siblings died in a yellow fever epidemic. I think I've heard of yellow fever before at some point. Leaving Ida to care for her remaining siblings, she found a job as a teacher to make money after her brothers became carpentry apprentices, moved with her sisters to Memphis, Tennessee. In Tennessee, Ida wrote articles about injustice for her church newspapers. Her first story was about an experience of her own. A train company had forced her to leave the train because she was not sitting in the car reserved for Black customers, even though Ida had bought a first-class ticket. When Ida refused to leave her seat, she was physically removed from the train.
Oh
no! In 1884, she filed a lawsuit against the company, and the company was awarded $500. She published an article about the experience in a newspaper under the name Lola. She was later given the title Lola, Princess of the Press. When one of Ida's friends was lynched, a type of murder that almost always targets Black people, Ida began to research acts of violence against Black people in the South in order to educate others. She wrote powerful articles on the topic and boldly published findings in local newspapers. Her work enraged many racists who burnt her press and forced her out of Memphis. Ida continued with her mission despite these dangerous obstacles. In 1898, she visited the White House to meet with President William McKinley to try to convince him to take action against lynchings. Ida B. Wells-Barnett remains one of the most important leaders of the early civil rights movement. Her activism was an inspiration to journalists who came after her. I love that she really tried to help with what was going on with the lynching. The very frequent inquiry made after my lectures by interested friends, what can I do to help the cause? The answer always is, tell the world the facts. Explore more. Learn more about Ida B. Wells-Barnett by reading The Princess of the Press by Angela Shelf Medeiros. Maggie Lena Walker. Maggie Lena Walker was an interpreter, businesswoman, and philanthropist. She was the first African American woman to charter a bank. Maggie Lena Walker was born in Virginia in 1864. She grew up very poor and had to help her family by working with her mother in a laundry business. Maggie attended a local school in Richmond, Virginia, and became a teacher after graduation. For one of my mom's work trips, she actually visited Richmond, Virginia. Cool, right? When she was a teenager, she joined the Independent Order of St. Luke, an African American organization that helps sick and elderly people. She held many top leadership positions there, including the role of a Grand Deputy Matron and Grand Secretary. In 1902, she began publishing the organization's newspaper, the St. Luke Herald. She also started a department store called the St. Luke Emporium, where Black women could find jobs and learn to work in retail. Maggie was very good at accounting and math. In 1903, she founded the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank. She was the first woman of any race to charter a bank in the United States. She also encouraged children to save money by passing out penny banks. Maggie lost her husband in 1915, which left her in charge of a large estate. Even though she continued working for the ISIL and other civic organizations, including the National Association of Colored Women, NACW, which had the slogan, "Lifting as we climb," and sought to improve life for all African Americans. She also served as the vice president of Richmond chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. Maggie's house in Richmond, Virginia, was made a National Historic Site by the National Park Service. Through her work and her passion, she paved the way for other African Americans to be in business leaders in their communities. I hope that you go to Maggie's house to explore what her house looked like and the history behind it. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but with a laundry basket practically on my head. Explore more. Learn more about Maggie Lena Walker at the National Museum of American History website, americanhistory.si.edu.